In terms of who has the best rivalry, I'm giving it to KAISER and ISAGI. In terms of who will make the best duo, I'm once again giving it to my goats, because just sit back and watch. PXG will need a miracle to clutch this one. What's going on, everyone? My name is Animasu, and today we'll be taking a look at Blue Lock Chapter 285, titled Devil's Contract. I'm really sorry for being late. I had college exams back-to-back Monday and Tuesday. I probably slept about 5 hours across the past 5 days. I am cooked. Anyways, if you enjoy staying up to date with Blue Lock and would like to support my channel, please click that subscribe button, comment below your thoughts, and also feel free to check out my community Discord. The link can be found in the description of all my videos, and there you can chat with me and other fans of the series. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into today's chapter, and I hope you all enjoy another week of peak fiction. The Lock Chapter 285 starts off with Isagi glaring into Michael Kaiser's soul as he seems to question what's just been said. Huh? A team up between me and Yoichi. Isagi seems fully confident in what he's just asked with a stern expression. However, Kaiser's entire vibe was thrown off and he even begins to sweat more. He goes on to ask Isagi if he's lost his damn mind because the person he now wants to team up with is the same guy he once grabbed by the collar and threatened to murder. It's kinda crazy how these things work, huh? That's life. Isagi basically just tells bro to ignore all of that and get over it, because at this rate, both of them will be outclassed by the geniuses of PXG. This panel also heavily parallels the Isagi and Rain panel from way back in the U20 arc, and I am just so happy to see that, as I wouldn't say I predicted it, but I begged for this to happen. Itoshi's current state makes it impossible for Isagi to stop him on his own, and if he scores again, it's game over for Bastard Munich and these two prodigies. Isagi continues on to remind Kaiser that at any point, Rin could once again surpass their imagination and produce some incredible play, overshadowing everything they worked so hard for. The only way to currently handle Rin and win is to combine their high-level logic and work together. Flashing back to the near-death experience they had in Chapter 283, it was shown that their combined logic could at least create some impact with a defensive play. If they apply the same tactic and coordinate an attack, then they could create a play beyond their wildest imagination, proving that talented learners can defeat geniuses. Kaiser finally goes on to reply with a very confused expression, asking if that's really the reasoning behind him wanting to team up, proving some theory to himself and the world. It's Isagi yoichi, so of course it is, as he continues on to say that rather than playing for personal feelings, he too is a world-type egoist, just like Kaiser. As we then see a puzzle box begin to form with his iconic puzzle pieces, Isagi says that he'll disregard all of his emotions and purely use his talents as tools for victory. More than anything, he wants to explore this calm and rational version of himself, as with all of this noise being put aside, this will produce his true ego and peak level of play. Now this rationale seems to actually impact Michael as he looks shocked by this, staring along with the background completely blacked out. As we then get his inner monologue in perspective, he begins to think that Isagi has completely lost it. However, that's not the case. Doing a double take, Michael realizes that this man is completely sane right now, if anything more than ever. Rather than being psychotic, this is just a true and unfiltered ego of Blue Lock's Isagi yoichi. With a panel that took the community by storm and had everyone soaking their pants, Kaiser proceeds to crack a smirk and laugh, asking a very important question. If he goes along with this plan and they really do work together, who will score the final winning goal? With no hesitation and bloodlust in his eyes, Isagi just says that they'll play it fair, each operating to chase the most logical path to victory. In other words, Lady Luck will decide who gets all of the glory. They'll work as a team, make logical passes, and dominate the field, but whoever has the ball last at the right moment will be gifted the right to score. With this lucky piece being the final one to complete Pandora's box of Isagi's ego, Kaiser goes on to point out how irrational this is. They'd have to throw away all their personal feelings, emotions, and resentment towards one another, turning it all into background noise of their main goal, victory. As Isagi begins to disintegrate and rebuild himself into a new, improved version, he says they must abandon their egos and become machines built to win. This translation is not exactly right though, and has confused a ton of people, as Isagi and Kaiser are not getting rid of their egos, please understand that. It's actually quite the opposite, as their return to zero has brought forth their true ego to the surface. As world-type egoists, their deep desire is for winning and appealing to the world standard, rather than personal goals or emotion. That's why these two are not throwing their egos to the wind, but rather the irrational noise of feelings and personal connection. These things are the chains that shackle down their true potential, and to be honest, if you guys want a full breakdown video on the whole return to zero concept, please let me know. It seems like Isagi and Kaiser have the most mischaracterization out of anyone in the community, and it's really sad considering how impactful their characters are. Kaiser goes on to hatefully accept the offer while covering his face in shame. reminding Isagi that his hate still runs so deep that he could drop dead at any moment. Being a job to achieve victory though above all else, he can consider it and now push through their differences. Isagi feels the same way and says that he still wants to beat him into a pulp, however they'll just have to save it for later. While confirming the promise with his hand in the gesture of the pinky promise sign, Isagi continues on to say that it's just a temporary, rational contract to get what they want. Their objectives just happen to align, as neither of them want to fall short to Itoshi, and both of them want to crush and get revenge on Noah. I find it funny here that their brains are still slightly clouded with personal issues and that logic, because Rain and Noah are still mindless noise drowning in their brain. Victory must come before it all. Anyways, page 10 then is a gift from God, as Isagi, Yoichi, and Michael KAISER dap one another up with their backs turned to the reader. To overcome the geniuses, they'll make a contract with even the devil and put aside their pride and hate. Not only is this double spread hitting harder than my father, but so does their aura exploding with black and white puzzle pieces alongside the thorny vines. I just cannot get over how amazing it is. With the audience watching and the commentators going crazy, the final match of the new Egoist League seems to be reaching its true endgame. Not even the Master Strikers could make an impact and settle the game within their 3 minutes. Speaking of them in the star change system, the substitutions do happen, with the only notable one being Kunigami Rensuke coming back on for Noah. He's taking a deep breath and mentally preparing himself, and I truly hope the luck shines upon him for the final goal. Karasu, Hiyori, and Igarashi are all shown hyping themselves up, with Hiyori specifically being surprised with Kaisagi ship becoming canon. Tokimitsu, Santetsu, and Nanase from PXG are all shown to be preparing themselves while stressing too, as the top 23 is slowly closing in on them. Charles and Shidou are both just happy to give it their all and close out this match. Meanwhile, Itoshi, he wants to crush everything and everyone in his path. The perspective then changes over to the bench, as Julian Loki complains about the absolute dog known as Isagi. He tells Noah that he's responsible for teaching him manners and should tell him to watch his mouth. However, the craziest thing happens. Noah says that Isagi didn't say one thing wrong, causing Loki to side-eye him, asking what that means. PXG and Loki may not have lost yet, but he did try to manipulate him, in turn opening the door to Yoichi Isagi's true ego. Itoshi and Noah both tried to use him as a stepping stone, but in the end, both ended up getting used themselves. It seems as though the new Egoist League wasn't just some surface level cash grab, but rather a place for ego Jinpachi to exploit their desires and hone their unique egoist. The perspective then changes over to the main man himself watching it off on a monitoring room, as the masters realize they were all just pawns in the grand scheme of things. He's literally watching and listening to Noah as he makes the realization, even taunting him behind the monitor saying it took him long enough. Absolutely crazy work, and you know this man watches way too much Classroom of the Elite trying to act like Ayane Koji. He continues on to say that this injection of fire into the new Egoist League was these idiot Master Strikers and their big ego and desires. All he needed them to do was finally get serious, and thanks to Noah and Julian Loki's personal interest, they both fell right into his trap. As we see Nanase throw the ball back into play, Ego goes on to say that it was indeed a gamble, but Isagi, Yoichi, and Itoshi both endured through. These diamonds in the rough became polished, requiring unique mindsets and techniques to survive in this high-pressure environment. As Itoshi traps the ball to gain possession and restart the game, we see Isagi, Yoichi, and Michael KAISER take off sprinting side by side in this amazing double spread. Ego Jinpachi urges these egoists to go forth, as the seeds of evolution he planted will now blossom and prove their world-changing originality. The final page shows Itoshi, Michael KAISER, and Isagi Yoichi all taking on their original ego eyes as they prepare for what comes next. Now is the time for the birth of a new egoist hero. I just cannot get over how hyped the end of this match has become, because my 3 favorite characters are all reverting to zero and achieving their peak egos. How can it get any better than this? We then have some outro text which says, Michael KAISER and Isagi ambush Itoshi. This impossible combo will overturn the battlefield. The upcoming chapter 286 will arrive without break, being titled New Era. I really cannot wait to see the matchup between these 3, because not only will the panels and reactions of the audience go insane, Kunigami Rensuke will still be lurking in the shadows. Isagi and KAISER are both out here thriving, so the true underdog for Kyorajin to assist will be Kunigami. No matter the case, comment down below what you guys thought of today's chapter or what you expect to happen next. If you enjoyed Blue Lock and want to support my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button, commenting below your thoughts, and consider joining my community Discord as well. Thank you all so much for the support. I'll see you in the next video, and as for me, I am going to hibernate for like 18 hours, I'm not gonna lie.